Well, it's that time again to reboot a franchise that has already had countless interpretations, proving that Hollywood are creatively bankrupt. We meet the 4 Ninja Turtles for the first time. Again! In another origin story. You know the drill. Get ready for the new, updated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. Hello there, you loose units, and welcome back to another episode of Spicy Boy Reviews. I'm, of course, your host, Andrew Iles. That's right, the latest installment, or reboot, if you will, of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This time, Mutant Mayhem. Here, directed by Jeff Rowe and Kyla Spears. Jeff was co-director on The Mitchells vs. the Machines, and Kyle directed the TV show Amphibia. We open the film on Baxter Stockton, doing some experiment on all different kinds of animals by covering them in ooze. Okay, that doesn't sound right. He's stopped in his tracks by a special forces team that burst into his laboratory, and all the animals try and escape and scatter away. But not before a canister of ooze can go down the drain, and you know what happens next. Fast forward many years later, and we are introduced to the 4 Ninja Turtles. Okay, it looks like this film might be treating us with a little bit of respect here, and fast-forwarding the origin stories of the 4 Turtles. You know, jumping straight in. Everyone in the world knows how they all started. Now, this is good, not covering the same ground over and over again. These turtles here are much younger, all voiced by actual teenage actors. They long to be accepted by humans, and are fascinated by them and the surface world. Then we meet Master Splinter, a traditional Japanese character voiced by the most infamous Chinese movie star of all time. And because the 4 Turtles, his boys, were out so late, he's going to punish them, and us, by telling us in detail their origin story. Fuck's sake! Of course, it's retold here with the most quirkiest humour that ever quirked, and filmed in full surround sound ADHD. There's 4 heroes that I can think of off the top of my head that everyone in the world, including your grandma, knows their origins too. That would be Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But I guess this is a reboot for kids of today, a modern audience if you will, because no child of today would have ever been exposed to anything Ninja Turtles previously to this film. Then the 4 Turtles bump into April O'Neil? Okay. They stop a bunch of bad guys from trying to steal her Vespa, and this is the first time ever that the 4 Turtles have united here and actually had a physical fight with people. And they fucking nail it. They get the taste for heroism here, and April accepts them for who they are, but also seeing a potential for a really juicy story about these 4 Turtles for her school newspaper. She informs the 4 Turtles that there's a gang terrorizing New York, all led by a mysterious villain called Superfly. This gang is stealing radioactive materials around New York City for reasons. Then the Turtles are on the hunt for this mysterious gang, thinking that if they can take them down, then the human world would accept them for who they are by being heroes. And they get to live out their dream, their one wish of being actual teenagers being enrolled into high school in New York. It's not long before we discover what we already know, that the gang they are hunting down are actually mutants. And I'm not talking about the people who hang around Cannonook railway station. This movie is a 1 hour and 40-minute fidget spinner. This film does not stop. Ever. Being filmed in full ADHD. It's pretty dark too at times to look at. However, I did like the sprinkle of neon glow that's pretty much in every frame. I've got to say though that I'm not a fan of this animation style. I realise this film is not made for me, it's for modern kids I suppose. And I know everyone's raving about how awesome and cutting edge and modern the animation is, but to me, it just looks messy. I'm pretty sure that the filmmakers saw Into the Spider-Verse and said, hey, let's do that times 11. It's chock full of modern, quirky, self-referential humour, undercutting every weighted moment with a joke. And it's pretty meta at 2 sometimes. Thanks, Deadpool. Some cuts deeper than others. And the climax to the film is straight up 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man. The union between the 4 Turtles, though, is pretty good, I've got to admit. I bought it. You know, the brotherly aspect, it was pretty good. However, Splinter is not the wise leader that we've come to know. Here being more of an old, withered, single dad, just trying to make his boys happy. It's sweet and somewhat intentionally sad sometimes, but I've always known Splinter being the wise master sensei, and here, he just ain't. The flick does lend itself to what makes Spider-Man and Batman characters really work. You know, the heroes and the villains having almost identical origin stories, but taking separate paths. One choosing the hero route with life choices, and the other taking the villain path for revenge. That was a pretty good aspect of the film. I've got to say, that was a positive. You know, it gives the storyline and the characters some depth. I did feel, however, that they swapped the characteristics of Michelangelo and Donatello. Like they just swapped their personalities. The bad guy Superfly I really enjoyed. It might have had a lot to do with Ice Cube with his voice acting. But my favourite character, best on ground for me in this film, was Mondo Gecko, voiced by Paul Rudd. I thought he was super rad. There's no cowabungas, there's still plenty of pizza, and yes, of course they tease the big villain for the next film. I wonder who it could be! This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Begins. Until the next reboot, which should be about, 36 months away. All in all, this film is okay. That's it. It's just okay. I'm sure kids will love it. It's enough things happening on screen and quirky humour, but I didn't love it. Nor did I completely hate it. For me, it was... Anyway, guys, that's my review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. Write down below if you've seen it. What are your thoughts on it? But more importantly, what is your favourite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles installment? And of course, if you've made it this far into the episode, please give me a thumbs up, because your love and support keeps me going, because I just love movies, and I assume you do as well. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe icon, because I give it an episode weekly, and I'll see you back here next week for the next review, and until then, stay spooky, kids.